Tesla is going to reveal all the specs because we have to remember we don't know anything about this truck really.
What do you think about the Cybertruck release going nearer and nearer? Because of course we had many people, many doubters talk about the Cybertruck like, yeah, it will never come out and everything. We've heard it. It's vaporware. Oh, look at this. It doesn't even. It won't look like this. And now what we see is a lot of Cybertrucks on the road, actually, or delivered. We had some pictures there. I'm going to pull them up while you maybe comment on the Cybertruck. What do you think about the release and how it's unfolding now? Yeah, what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, it is very exciting. It has been a long wait since 2019. Cybertruck was actually not my first video, but some of my first videos was about the Cybertruck and the whole event there. So yeah, it holds a special place in my heart. Also because this is just so different than anything we have seen, and
absolutely
no other company on the planet would dare to do this other than Tesla, to make such a different kind of truck. But that the Tesla haters, or short sellers, or whatever, is saying won't happen. That's nothing new. They have been saying that since the 2012 Model S. They said that would not happen, and people are going to make a deposit of $20,000 for a prototype, and that would never happen. And the X would never happen, and the 3 would never happen, and the Model Y was vaporware, and Tesla would go bankrupt, and the semi-truck was not going to happen, and now the Cybertruck was not going to happen. But they're all coming true. The Cybertruck is out. That was really cool that Pepsi is testing them, and they had a nice video just a while back showing off some of the pretty good numbers of that truck. That was really, really great insight to that semi-truck. But yeah, absolutely. The Cybertruck it's going to be such a huge milestone for Tesla, but not just because we've been waiting for 4 years, but it's going to be such a dramatically change in an electric car that we have never seen, in cars in general that we have never seen before. So I think that's just very, very interesting on its own, that this is going to be such a different kind of beast that the world has never seen before. And I think that is why also it is the most pre-ordered vehicle in history. We are closing in on 2 million vehicles in pre-orders. Maybe not all will go through, but I bet you that just as many is going to come afterwards when we start to see this ripping down the streets. Crazy. And Tesla is going to reveal all the specs, because we have to remember we don't know anything about this truck really. Not much, because it has all been like 500 plus miles of range, and it can charge 250 plus and so on. So we don't know the real numbers of this truck really, except maybe the 0 to 60 or something like that. But I think it's going to be a much better truck and capable truck than people might realize. And I think the people that like Jim Farley, I think he's usually very nice when he's talking about Elon and Tesla, and very respectful. But when it comes to the truck, I think he's really scared of this truck, because
that's true.
Something about the truck is like, the front looks small in the pictures, the leaked pictures, and Jim Farley was on Twitter straight away like, we have a big truck, a big front, and it's not a real truck, it's for the Silicon Valley people and stuff like that. So that's not going to age well in my opinion.
That's absolutely true. I think this truck will surprise people. Yeah, even if the front is a little bit smaller. I mean, we've seen some aerial shots comparing the Cybertruck to another category. The Model Y actually is standing right next to it. And the Cybertruck isn't as big as the Model Y. It's a little bit longer on the back. So this makes sense from the front. I think it's, I mean, yeah, the nose is a little bit smaller, but we have the bed, so it's a little bit longer than the Model Y, but it's reasonable. I mean, it's not as big as we thought, because they shrunken it a little bit.
Yeah.
But overall, I think this would also pretty much work in Europe. Of course, many Americans, what I've heard so far, think we have so tiny roads that we can't even drive here. How is it possible? Of course, they're right. I mean, in for example, in the UK, in where they have pretty old towns or old villages, for example, very remote villages. There's a total different story. South of Europe, of course, also pretty antique old cities. There you see smaller roads in Italy, for example. But we have Sprinter vans and everything. Yeah. So yeah, we have space for the Cybertruck. So Elon, please send it to us. Yeah. How do you think the advantages of the Cybertruck are? Because it's so different. I mean, we have, for example, the weight. I know the weight is a little bit different. You've also, I think, talked about this in some episodes on your channel as well. So the weight compared to other, especially EV trucks, is totally different. So the Tesla is so good at perfecting the efficiency of the cars.
Yeah.
The weight is much lower. Sometimes the Model Y, for example, if you compare it in their vehicle category, it's also lighter than the competition. Yeah. So how do you view the advantages or the differences of the Cybertruck?
I think it's going to be the first real truck that is going to be also great at towing stuff and carrying stuff.
Yeah.
Because we already know them. The Hummer EV is pretty much a joke. I'm sorry, but
yeah, sadly,
so heavy. It can't carry much in the load even because it's just so heavy. The Silverado is going to be a great pickup truck, I think. But compared to the Cybertruck, I think it's going to fall short on pretty much everything. And they're not going to come out with the $40,000 like Ford and GM said they would, just like Tesla, because Tesla said 40,000. They, of course, said 40,000 for their pickup trucks. And nobody has come through with this, and Tesla will neither. So no biggie. But what GM is coming out with is the Silverado, and the starting price this year is going to be like something like $108,000. So the Cybertruck is going to look very compelling just on the price point. But both the Silverado and the F-150 Lightning can also only tow 10,000 pounds, where the Cybertruck can tow 14,000 pounds, and it can have more cargo in the boot as well, because it doesn't weigh as much as the other guys, because Tesla's is much more efficient with everything. So, and I think the thing about the Cybertruck having 500 plus miles of range is actually very, very important. If you are going to tow stuff, this really matters, because I think 300 miles of range in an EV, that's great for everyday driving and road trips and so on. You don't want to drive much more than 300 miles in one go anyway. I never do that. So
you have to take a break.
If you're towing a trailer with something like a boat or whatever, a huge load, and you have only 300 miles to begin with, you're probably down to 150 miles or something like that. So if the Cybertruck has more than 500 miles of range, it will come down to the range of the F-150 Lightning without towing anything. So it's actually going to have a decent range towing stuff. And they are also, it's of course speculation, but as Elon said at the reveal of the semi-truck, they were actually going to build a smaller version of the semi-truck and make a pickup truck. That was his announcement of the Cybertruck before it was called the Cybertruck and before we knew anything about it. So I think it's going to have some similarities and have some technologies that they have worked on for the semi-truck as well. And definitely like we see, like I just learned actually, that my Model 3 from 2019, when I'm just cruising along, it is only using the rear wheel motor. It doesn't use the front motor at all. And they have created what you're showing right here, the system powertrain for the semi-truck, where when it's cruising, it's only using one motor, their heavy duty motor there, and the other two motors only activate if they have to pull or accelerate or go uphill or whatever they have to do. And I think we will see something very similar in the Cybertruck. Because we have already, I didn't know this, but yeah, my 4-year-old Tesla Model 3 actually has the technology to not pull on both engines. It has one in the front, one in the back. Here we have 3, and I think maybe a Cybertruck even going to have 4. We don't know yet, but if that quad motor is going to come out. But the efficiency here is going to be amazing. So I think Tesla is going to solve the problem of towing that EV haters has talked about for so long, that you can't tow anything with an EV. Well, You can, but no, not as long. And yes, it go down in range just like an ice car does when it's towing stuff. So yeah, so I think Tesla is going to solve this whole issue that you can't tow anything. I think the Cybertruck is going to be the first real electric vehicle that can tow over a longer distance, because the Model S has good range and can tow. I haven't seen any numbers on how much it can tow for how long and the range and stuff like that. But I think the Cybertruck is really going to show the world that you can tow with an electric truck, electric pickup truck.